second level conference area. Spectators can ask about the draft dog team. Please make sure to use the draft team's open development facility whenever possible. Good afternoon, hockey fans. Welcome to the Norway State Bank Arena with today's MPA Girls Hockey North semifinal game featuring visiting Dragons of Brunswick High School. The home team staff and personnel of the Norway State Bank Arena are hosting today's regional semifinal. Now let's meet today's participants. First playing for the Dragons. Number 3, Quinn Bowen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Norway Savings Bank Arena in Auburn, Maine for a huge playoff matchup between your Brunswick Dragons and the Clippers from Yarmouth, Freeport. I'm joined by the great Oscar Gartside on the scoreboard, sponsored by Singer & Mingo Sportside Real Estate and the camera and the even greater. No offense, Oscar. Kaz Kosinski on the microphone.
Thank you, Robert. I'm thrilled to be here. Both times these teams have faced this season been thrilling games. The first one was a 3-2 overtime loss for Brunswick, and the second one was a 4-2 loss that had a Brunswick comeback mounted on the way. So no matter what tonight, this game will be awesome to watch.
Yeah, Kaz, for both of these teams, the opening game of the season was against the other. It was Brunswick versus Yarmouth Freeport in the opening regular season game. And for one of these two teams, it will also be the final game.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty poetic for Brunswick to win this.
The Dragons have their perfection line back together. The first line of Natalie Parham, Solveig Ledwick, and Jillian Countway. We thank you all so much for joining us. It has been a fantastic year of girls hockey here on BHSN. And Kaz, I don't feel ready for it to end. So the Dragons need to win this one, obviously, and they'll advance to the Northern Division Championship against Edward Little, who just defeated Penobscot 7-0. Here comes Ledwick to exit the zone. Up to Countway, fighting along the blue line, and turned over to Strout for Yarmouth Freeport. McCormick will knock it towards Ledwick and turns it over to Zinman, who knocks it into the zone.
Yeah, Robert, I totally agree with you. It's too soon for this to end. I mean, we still do have boys hockey, but they're not having their best year, so this is the team that we're really hoping makes the big run.
Kept in the zone by Strout, will fire. Save made by Labonte. This is as loud as any rink that we've been in this season, Kaz. Got great fan sections from either school. Total of 3 schools, of course, with Yarmouth Freeport. McCormick will clear it. Puck will bound near the Yarmouth bench and will be stopped to avoid the icing. That's O'Connor up to Zinman, who dumps it into the corner. Flynn is knocked down. Donahue looks to clear off the back wall, cannot. Stopped by Sophia White below the blue line. She will dump it down to O'Connor. O'Connor has it stolen by Donahue, knocks it towards Flynn.
Yeah, and now those of you at home may be wondering, how are we able to cover this game? It is because NFHS is not here, so we just seized the opportunity.
Here is O'Connor, will knock down Donahue at center ice. Donahue slow to get up, appears still slow to get up. She will skate off. Here's Nezvezchuk, makes a great move into the slot. It loses it below her skate. Nezvezchuk scores! 1-0 Yarmouth Freeport. Maya Nezvezchuk has been a fantastic player these last 2 times the Dragons played the Clippers. Scored the game winner in overtime in that 3-2 win. And she opens the scoring a minute and 59 seconds into the playoff game.
Yeah, that's not great. That is a hard way to start things off here for Brunswick. We need Wick to be fair, this is how it started pretty typically. And then Wick comes roaring back. As we've said, you can be winning, but you still don't want to be behind the door when the Dragons come knocking. It's never a good place to be. Still very early, still plenty of time for the Dragons to win this game.
Here comes Adelaide Strout. The Dragons trailed to the Clippers both times they played, and did end up coming back both times. The last time they played the Clippers at NYA, it was 2-0 Clippers in that third period, and the Dragons scored twice to tie that game at 2. Ended up allowing 2 more goals to Yarmouth Freeport and lost 4-2, but they've come back before against these guys, and they'll have to do it again to keep the season alive. False start on O'Connor. Should that be a 5-yard penalty, Kaz?
Yeah, and I think it should absolutely be a 5-yard penalty.
Ledwick will win it to Natalie Parham, looking to break out. The Dragons haven't had a shot on goal yet. Parham dumps it around, looking for Countway. The race is won, though, by O'Connor. O'Connor has it stolen along the blue line. Retrieved by Countway, backhands it into the zone. That's Sophia White to collect for the Clippers. Knocks it to Zinman and will clear. Or rather, O'Connor clears for the icing. The Dragons will get the offensive zone faceoff once again, still looking for that first shot on goal.
Offensive zone faceoff now headed the direction of Wick. This would be a great one to get going here. It looks like Ledwick will go to take it. I don't hate that, but I don't love it either. I'd like to see Ledwick to be the receptor here, the one to fire the shot.
Yeah, it's usually Natalie Parham taking the faceoffs on that first line. Countway will be wrestled down by Geyer. White trying to clear the zone and does. Sydney Parham will win that race though, pressured from behind by Nezvezchuk, who just scored the goal for the Clippers. Countway will recover.
Nezvezchuk is fast. I don't know if you guys could see it there, but she was flying to catch Parham. Thankfully, Parham is also quite fast and was able to hold the lead there, but that was terrifying.
Parham does clear the zone. Now the puck gets back to Solveig Ledwick, the leader in goals in the entire state for girls hockey. But she will ice it this time. O-zone face-off for the Clippers. They will send out McElhaney, Zinman, and O'Connor for their line of forwards, as well as White and the other O'Connor being Erica O'Connor for the defense pairing.
Yeah, we're gonna get a whistle here as Saavedra Estrada comes on for Wick. Their fifth player. They're stacking three in front of the net. There's no chance that puck gets there. Vital. Come on, Vital, let's go.
Puck will be knocked into the Dragon defensive zone. Here's Vital trying to clear. That was a high stick, so the Dragons have to be the ones to recover the puck, and they do. If Yarmouth Freeport had touched the puck next after the high stick, the Dragons would have had the offensive zone face-off. McCormick couldn't stop it in the neutral zone, and chance for O'Connor entering. A 2-on-1 O'Connor gets under Vital, but a great job by Levante to get a piece of that puck, and the Dragons keep it at 1-0. O'Connor collects again. Will backhand it for McElhaney. McElhaney dumps it back around. O'Connor racing for it with Saavedra. Countway tries to clear, and that's a nice centering pass from Sophia White. McElhaney nearly tipped it in.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get an icing here unless... Oh, no. Yarmouth's going to go ahead and snake that one before it gets quite down there.
Here's Ledwick along center ice. She's pressured, makes a nice spin move on O'Connor, and Ledwick will dump it into the offensive zone. It's Flynn and Jerome out with her. Jerome scored her first career goal last game in the first round of the playoffs against Lewiston. Here is Adelaide Strout, has three Dragons in front of her, and will put it on net, stopped by Levante, and she will freeze it.
It's good to see Coach Ledwick on the sidelines been up and moving again. He's back on his feet. I don't know how long that will last, but I believe he will need to have some Achilles restructuring surgery at some point.
Parham, that was actually the last time we were in this building was when Coach Ledwick suffered that injury against Edward Little. Nezvezchuk wins the faceoff, back to Strout, she'll fire. Couldn't get the clean shot off though, back to her sister, Presley Strout. Geyer dumps it down, Nezvezchuk will center. It's actually Macy White who did. Here is Nezvezchuk. Will enter the slot, look to fire on net. White couldn't put the shot on for the Clippers, and it is cleared for another icing. Yarmouth Freeport will get the offensive zone faceoff. They'll send out back that line of McElhaney, Zinman, and O'Connor. Both teams skating two forward lines, Cal.
Yeah, Dragons been skating two all season. I believe they've mixed up a third occasionally, but it's really just been top heavy from the Dragons all year.
Zinman will knock it towards the net now in the slot. One back to White, has it blocked by Countway. Sophia White will give it back to Countway. That will be an offside as McElhaney was over the blue line. Or he's making this signal for a high stick, but I'm pretty sure that should have been an offside. However, oh wow, no, it is a penalty on Countway. It's a high stick, and Countway records her 20th penalty on the season. Wow, I thought just assumed it was an offside, but it is a penalty. Countway, 2 minutes, high stick.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for the Dragons. That's going to be Countway's, I believe, her 20th on the year. And that just hurts, being down a goal and now down a player for the next 2 minutes. Dragons need to hold strong here. It'll be Nezvozchuk in the zone. Looks for Sophia White. Nothing came of it though. Shot on by Smith, won't end up there. Sorry, that was Erica O'Connor with a shot, not Celia Smith. Dragons get it all the way down. It will not be an icing call because it is the power play advantage for Yarmouth. It'll be Adelaide Strout now. Enters the neutral zone, should be pinched into the boards by Parham, and Ledwick will send it all the way down, buying the Dragons a bit more time.
It will be collected by Erica O'Connor up ice for Strout. McCormick dumps it back in. Nice job so far by the Dragon penalty kill that had been incredible all year and starting to falter the past couple of weeks, letting in 6 power play goals. Here's Nezvozchuk, puts it on net. Labonte capped it out.
That's big there. Nezvozchuk had a bit of a sitter there and just couldn't convert it, which it would have sucked had that gone in. That would have been really brutal. 2-0 in under 7 minutes of play. Or in under 8 minutes of play would be terrible.
The officials send off Parham. That is the old classic rule. Since Yarmouth Freeport is the home team, they get to be the last team to sub their players during a whistle. The Dragons tried to sub on Parham last there, but Yarmouth Freeport had already been fully subbed, so the away team is not allowed to sub after the home team has. That's a fun little home team advantage rule.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most significant home field advantage, I guess, impacts in all of sports. Like, I mean, what else rivals that? The crowd is obviously impactful for all sports for home teams, but is there anything else that really is like of the same category?
Yeah, I don't think so. That is a pretty unique rule, I guess.
Like, that's a genuine like advantage. Like home, I mean, the crowd is like, you know, you can get around it, but that like is like genuine.
That shot went off the face mask of Hensley Labonte. Centering pass here, Strout, high slot fires, save made, a rebound, still alive. Backhand was by Nezvozchuk, somehow wouldn't go. And now they're calling it a goal. I believe Nezvozchuk recorded her second goal here on the power play. They're going to credit O'Connor, and it's 2-0 Yarmouth Freeport. Confusing.
That's rough. I mean, it's a long road back now for the Dragons. 2-0, 7 minutes left in the first period. They need to get something going now. Yarmouth is coming into this looking far more prepared than Brunswick.
Tie up on the face-off, won by Ledwick. She'll dump it around. It's Erin O'Connor with the goal. Ledwick will get into the slot. The Dragons need this. Fire, save, rebound. And Countway could not collect the bounding puck off the leg pad of Costa. I believe that's the Dragons' first shot on goal.
Yeah, that's not going to come to a goal for the Dragons, but that's good. I like that. I like that Ledwick got into the slot, got a shot on. Like we just need to be seeing more of that. We haven't seen any of that so far.
Puck is won there by Zinman. Zinman has it picked off by Countway. Couldn't collect. Strout dumps it into the offensive zone. Here's Zinman. Ledwick's got it now. Puts the spin on Zinman. Will dump it off the boards right next to that official. And now here is Ledwick. Across to Countway. It's stolen. Shot. Leg pad save by Labonte. Kept in the zone by White. White off the boards. And dumped to O'Connor by Zinman. O'Connor's rounding the net. Ledwick is knocked down by O'Connor. Shot is over the net. Of course, this is the location last year that the Dragons played the Clippers in the state semifinal, the Northern Division Championship. The Dragons defeated the Clippers right here in this rink, 2-1 that game. Ledwick will just have to ice it, and that is the great tragedy, Kaz, when you're stuck in your defensive zone for so long. Even when you get the puck, you can't get on offense out of it. Saavedra in the slot has it deflected. A great job by Parham, though, to get her the puck.
I will say that play right there originates from Solveig Ledwick not icing the puck and actually getting it on net so that there's time to get switches and the puck stays in play.
Here's Vital, pressured. The Dragons have plenty of numbers in the defensive zone. Great job by Ms. Vezchuk to put pressure on, and Vital ends up turning the puck back over to the Clippers. McCormick tracks it down. Hit by White. Vital will wall off Strout to let McCormick get the puck. Saavedra is knocked down and cleared by McCormick for yet another ice. And the Dragons just cannot get any settled offense.
Yeah, Dragons need to, here's what we've seen this season. Hard first periods from the Dragons, and second period they get hot. We got 4.5 minutes till the second period. If they can keep this a 1 or 2 goal game, I think the Dragons have a real chance to come back.
Ledwick versus Vezchuk. Parham's off the ice getting some rest. Here's Jerome. But Coway puts the big hit on, ends up taking out the legs of Jerome. Bounding puck is wide of the net. Sydney Parham now. She'll backhand it to Countway. Parham back along the wall. Can Jerome exit the zone? Yes. Ms. Vezchuk recovers, though, for the Clippers. Nice poke by Countway, knocks it up, and recovered again by Strout. Here's Donahue, and knocked into the zone by Strout.
Yeah, that one got caught up in the propeller there with the Donahue's skates. Had it not, though, Ledwick was going to be the one to advance there. It's just, oh my goodness. Countway will fire one into her own bench. That could have been seriously bad.
Already have one coach injured. We don't need more.
If that puck is like a few more inches to the right, that's a headshot on one of the assistant coaches, and that is like potentially fatal. I don't know about fatal, but like seriously damaging. A hard puck to the head, and that will do something. They're not getting off scotch-free after that one.
McCormick sends it around to Countway. Will knock it off the boards. Here's O'Connor, who just scored. Lays it up to McElhaney, centers it. Natalie Parham collects. Can Countway exit the zone? Ledwick's racing for it. McElhaney as the official. A nice job to hop onto the Dragon bench.
You must be very careful, as if you fall off that bench, it often results in great injury. We've found, our conclusive research has found.
Here's McElhaney. Trying to wrap around, will center, nobody home. O'Connor's got it now, though. O'Connor to her sister. Puck will exit the zone right through the legs of the linesman. Of course, we do have 4 officials this game, as opposed to the normal 2, 3, because it's a MPA playoff game. How many do we normally have? Is it normally 2?
We normally have 2. Last game we had 3, now we have 4.
So now we actually do have linesmen and officials. So the guys with the orange stripes are officials, and the guys who are just hanging out in the blue lines are the linesmen. So I get to actually use that term correctly now.
Yeah, do you think we'll have 5 next game?
Yeah, I do think that's how it works. Ms. Vezchuk enters the zone. High slot fire save made. Labonte rebound is wide of the net. Parham tries to clear to Jerome. It's picked off by Strout. Will fire, lofts it right into the netting as the official signals for the face-off. I'm so happy. I get to say official and linesman. It's a great day.
It's a great day, and it's going to be even better when the Dragons are walking out of here as semi-final Northern champs.
Of course, they were down 2-0 to Yarmouth Freeport the last time they played. Ended up scoring 2 goals in the third period to tie the game, and ended up losing 4-2, but they can come back. We do know this. Ms. Vezchuk will center. It's out to Geyer. Geyer's open. Will fan on the shot attempt. Saavedra able to clear, but that's just going to be another icing. The Dragons just been icing the puck left and right. They cannot get any settled offense.
Yeah, I mean that's stemming from that Yarmouth pressure. They're up in the zone. They're not letting anything out. They're not letting these streaking runs get open. It's hard to get anything going with that.
We've talked to the Dragons players about how their breakouts need improvement, and we just have not seen it so far this first period. They're going to have to get those dialed in if they do want to come back in this game. O'Connor, it's deflected and nearly went, but it will go right into the glove of Levante. They got to fix their breakouts, Kaz. The way that they've broken out the puck most of the time this season has just been Ledwick skating from the defensive zone all the way into the offensive zone. That's really how they've cleared the puck this season.
Yeah, that's true. The icing has just been the go-to for the Dragons, just sending it along and hoping.
Ledwick will do just that again for another icing. I don't love, you love the effort from Jillian Countway there, but when the Dragons are only skating 10 players and it's going to be an icing, I would kind of rather her save her energy, but you love to see the effort.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you might want to think about, what's the trade-off here, though? It's good to be doing team film out here today, Rob. I'm happy to be here. We just need the Dragons to flip something around here.
Here's Vital along the back wall. Will knock it back off the boards. Here's Strout high circle. She will fire it wide. Of course, in that playoff game last season between these two teams in this rink, it was a 1-0 lead for Yarmouth Freeport. The Dragons then tied the game. So they have come back here in the playoffs against this team. Of course, that was just a 2-1 deficit. They definitely 1-0 deficit. Yeah, okay. I remember now. It was Paige Botts who tied the game at 1, and then Lauren Labby who put them up 2-1, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely missing a few key pieces from that team last year. I mean, Lauren Labby was KVAC Player of the Year, or not Lauren Labby, sorry, Lacey Palmer, one of the best defenders in girls hockey history for Brunswick, certainly. So that's a huge hit to lose. Lauren Labby was an excellent hockey player, and I guess so was Paige Botts as well.
Lacey Palmer, the fastest skater in the state last year for girls hockey. And they need some of that speed this game as they struggle to break the puck out of their defensive zone. Shot is deflected. Vital will collect. Vital knocking it towards Livesey. That puck will get on net. Levante freezes it with 7.5 seconds. That's probably too much time to pull your goalie if you are Yarmouth Freeport.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, same way the Dragons boys team has Ethan Patterson, the girls team has Solveig Ledwick, and either of those people, I think, could just cannon it all the way down there.
If Ledwick was not on the ice, if there was no Ledwick and no Vital on the ice, I think I actually would pull my goalie with 7 seconds left. Maybe Countway could hit it too. Yeah, okay. Probably the right move. And that will do it for our first period of action. We thank you all for joining us here on Brunswick High Sports Network. Cass Kosinski and myself, Robert Bowen, on the microphone, and the great Oscar Gartside on the scoreboard, and the camera sponsored by Singer Domingo Sportside Real Estate. But period was all Clippers.
Yeah, that definitely was. It's unfortunate how that turns out sometimes. We're going to get a nice break here, and we will rejoin you in about 12 minutes.
Because it's an MPA game, does that mean that we have some super cool halftime show?
I wish we did, but I don't think so.
Well, that's very unfortunate, but we will get you guys back here in 11:30, and we might even unmute a little bit early to talk to you guys. I don't know. We'll see. See you guys soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Norway Savings Bank Arena here in Auburn, Maine for the Girls Hockey Northern Division semifinal between the Brunswick Dragons and the Yarmouth Freeport Clippers. Kaz, 2-0 start quickly for the Clippers, but we've seen this happen before.
Yeah, Robert, we absolutely have. This is how it's always happened. So it's really going to come down to what do the Dragons do next? This happened last game.
The Dragons played the Clippers. The Clippers jumped out to a 2-0 lead with 10:30 to go in the first period. And the Dragons ended up scoring twice to tie the game at 2 late in the third period. Ended up still losing 4-2, but that was a great game. They've come back on the Clippers before.
Yeah, and obviously in the playoffs last year, this was the same Northern Regional Final. Yarmouth came out 1-0. Paige Botts equalized. Lauren Labby with the kill shot to push Dragons to the state championship.
Both teams skating 10 skaters this game. For the Clippers, it is McElhaney, O'Connor, Geyer, Zinman, White, Shrout, O'Connor, Zvezchuk, White, and Costa. So Kaz, with the 10 skaters that the Clippers are skating, 6 of them are sisters. You have the 2 Whites, the 2 O'Connors, and the 2 Shrouts.
Eben White will be taking the reins of scoreboard here for the Dragons. Very, very nice to have him working with us tonight. I guess this afternoon is probably a better way to put it. Dragons in front early. Oh, close but no banana there. As McCormick rounds and will send it off the boards back into the zone.
Shrout will collect. Do really appreciate that from Eben White. Sydney Parham will keep it in the zone. Will knock it forward. Geyer wins the puck, sends it to Ledwick, and Geyer knocks it back around. But I was saying, Kaz, while you were talking to Eben, the Clippers are skating 10 players, and 6 of those 10 are sisters, with the 2 Whites, the 2 Strouts, and the 2 O'Connors.
It's an interesting little fun fact there. Real pipe clog over there. Maya Zvezchuk eventually comes out with it.
Here comes Zvezchuk with speed. Pressured, and the puck gets through, and Zvezchuk misses the open net.
Oh my, that would have been terrible. And Zvezchuk just missed an absolute sitter of a shot there. I don't know, that's probably unfair. That was not an absolute sitter. That's still a very difficult shot, but you did miss it.
Big collision. Ledwick will loft it over the net. Flynn collects. Knocked back to Flynn. Will try to jam it in, cannot. Flynn pressured from behind by Shrout and gets ripped down by Shrout. No call. I would agree that was clean. White clears for an icing, and now look who's icing the puck now, Kaz.
Yeah, it already does feel better. I feel like the Dragons have a much better plan and attack on things here.
Virtually the entire game has been played on the left side of your screen. The Dragons were pinned in their defensive zone the whole first period, and now through 2 minutes in the second, it is the Clippers who are pinned in their defensive zone. So only that left side has seen any action.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of unusual, I think.
Puck drop won by Zinman. She'll knock it against her own back wall. Puck is won by McCormick, loses it to White. Puck will go underneath the linesman. And Vital collects in her defensive zone. Vital knocking it towards Countway. Vital still fighting for it. And now Natalie Parham collects for Brunswick. Has Countway. Now she will clear. And that puck might roll on net to avoid the icing. No, just wide right.
I'll be honest, Rob, for a second there, I was almost confident that the official that was in my blurred side-eye vision I thought it was a Dragons player. So for a second, I thought we had a breakaway there.
Yeah, those big orange stripes on the officials' shoulders, marking them as officials. Great use of terminology. The orange stripe does show that it's an official and not a linesman. Just great job, Kat.
Yeah.
But this will be an O-zone face-off for Yarmouth Freeport. Natalie Parham up against Presley Strout, and as Vezchuk was kicked out with the false start. Parham will win it to Ledwig, knocking it up the ice for Countway. Can Countway get to it? Jillian Countway enters the zone, and a chance for Brunswick. Countway fires, save made by Costa.
That's a great look from the Dragons. You can already feel the energy has shifted, and the Dragons are knocking.
And Kaz, where do you not want to be when the Dragons are knocking on the door?
Right behind that door, baby.
Parham versus Vezchuk will lose the draw. White will clear. Sydney Parham racing for it with Presley Strout. She'll win that race, but pressured by Strout. Ledwick knocks it as Vezchuk wins it for the Clippers. Nice poke by Ledwick. But Vezchuk has it again. Here's Adelaide Strout. Puts it on net. It's deflected by Ledwick.
Oh my.
And Parham will win it away. I thought that might have been deflected in, but the Dragons escape. Ledwick has the open Countway. Here come the Dragons. As Jillian Countway has Strout in front of her. Countway will cut back, and a nice poke by Adelaide Strout to stop the Dragon rush. Puck back to Ledwick. She'll fire. It's blocked.
Gotta say, there's a little shot of dopamine every time you see Ledwick winding up for one. You're like, it's gonna be powerful, and this might just go in. And I gotta say, I got that sense there, but nothing came of it.
I do completely agree, Kaz. We have seen just a completely different Brunswick Dragons team here in the first 4 minutes. Much more zone time, much more energy, and a couple of great scoring chances, but Costa has kept the puck out so far.
Yeah, Costa's done a great job in the net. She is the daughter of Mrs. Rebecca Costa, who is the gym teacher at BJHS. One of my favorite teachers out of that school, for sure.
Here's a shot blocked by Saavedra. O'Connor collects her own rebound, but Saavedra with a clutch defensive play to get the Dragons some more zone time.
Yeah, that's big, and that's just the stuff that wasn't happening in that first period that's starting to happen now that's making all the difference.
Zinman with speed will knock it around. Jerome gets hit. Here's Zinman behind the net. Poke by Saavedra. McCormick to Jerome. Knockdown, Vital collects. I hear someone yelling from the Dragon bench to ice the puck.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to get a change on for the Dragon first line. That might be Sydney Parham yelling that. Vital, will she ice it? No, will carry. Vital will cross. Vital will get laid out. And she is slow to get up.
Now, this is something you never want to see in any sport, let alone high school. A player down on the ice, clearly injured. We're not exactly sure what happened, but we will not be putting the camera on anybody, and we will put the microphone down and get back to you when we have further word. Vital of the Dragons is now being helped off by both Krista Henley of the Brunswick Athletic Training Services and Antonio, I apologize, I did not know Antonio's last name, of the Freeport training staff, the Freeport Yarmouth training staff. We do not have Antonio Romano. Thank you, Robert. Antonio Romano of the Freeport Athletic Training staff. If we do get any further updates, we will get back to you as soon as we can. But as for now, Delia Vital will not be in the game. She will be out with an injury. Oscar will retain the wheel at the camera, and we will be returning to play shortly.
Yeah, it's a big loss for the Dragons. Kaz already only skating 4 defensemen. And now we'll be down to 3 with Donahue, Sydney Parham, and Quinn McCormick. Parham will win the draw here to McCormick. That is definitely some wind out of the sails when the Dragons had just a whole bunch of momentum to start these first 5 minutes of the period.
I mean, now they got like a real something to fight for, though. I think it might even boost their momentum. It gives them a little maybe wanted even more moment.
Off the skate of McCormick. Parham dumps it off the wall. O'Connor knocks it to White. Couldn't handle it. Great jump by the linesman. Really just going to be noting that all game. They've been so athletic this entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving very athletically is a great way to put it.
Chance for Natalie Parham. Countway's open the slot. Parham to Countway, wide of the net. And Countway's knocked out from behind. There is a penalty. The Dragons will go on the man advantage.
Yeah, that was a pretty clear one. I think that should have been called earlier. The official waited a second, heard the crowd reaction, and then threw his hand up.
Kaz, fantastic point. The 3 officials, the 2 linesmen and the official who were next to the play did not note it. It was the official in the Dragons defensive zone who put his hand up. So it took the guy on the opposite side of the ice to call that. The penalty is on O'Connor, and the Dragon power play has their first chance. Back to Ledwick. Ledwick will survey, puts it wide of the net. McCormick will leave it up to Ledwick. Ledwick in the circle, she has space, she will look to fire, and score! What a shot! And it's 2-1!
Oh, I mean, that was most likely the best hockey shot I've ever seen. That was unbelievable, Robert.
Exactly what the doctor ordered, Kaz.
I mean, that was an absolute missile from Ledwick into the upper right corner there. Nothing the goalie could have done. That is unbelievable.
We could tell that the momentum was building for the Dragons. And off of the great play, that was all created by the great play by Parham to get the puck to Countway in the slot. She took the penalty, and then on the power play, Ledwick buries it. Yeah,
I mean, it shows you. It's the butterfly effect, or no, the chaos theory, where, one thing leads to another, and that's even more apparent right there.
They credit Parham and McCormick with the assist and the chance for O'Connor into the zone.
Yeah, that was unfortunate there.
Oh, Sydney Parham will go to the penalty box. That was a big hit there on O'Connor. Parham, obviously with Countway, are the 2 leaders in penalties for the Dragons, and O'Connor's in some pain there. That was a big hit by Sydney Parham.
Yeah, O'Connor is writhing in pain, and we're once again going to take the camera off the action here, as we will see. I believe this is now the 3rd-string athletic trainer, as both Krista Henley and Antonio Romano are currently attending to Vital. We have another pretty serious-looking injury. Vital has not returned to the ice yet, and O'Connor is in pain. We're going to leave the microphone here for just a second as we look for more updates on stuff to come. This was Sydney Parham, who just had a pretty blasting hit.
Yeah, the Dragons, obviously penalties have been an issue for them this year. Last game in the regional quarterfinal against Lewiston, they had 7 penalties. Countway and Parham have the 2 most penalties on the team with 19 and 18 respectively coming into today, and the 2 penalties by the Dragons will be by 1 for each of them, now 20 for Countway, and that's the 19th on the season for Sydney Parham. Of course, Countway with the perfect 20 penalties in 20 games, and Sydney Parham 1 below that, 19 in 20 games.
Yeah, and O'Connor appears to be getting to her feet. Or sorry. Yeah, that's Erin O'Connor. She has risen to her feet.
I'm not a doctor, so I really don't want to guess anything, but I'm going to guess anyway. I think that she could have just been winded. Parham, I look back at the replay, it wasn't that high of a hit. I believe Sydney could have just hit her really hard in the torso area and winded her. Again, I'm not a doctor, so don't take my word for anything, but judging based on how she was treated by the doctors, I think that's potentially what happened. Again, not a doctor. Please, Kaz, stop saying I'm a doctor. Please, just stop saying I'm a doctor, Kaz. I don't know.
Robert is a licensed medical professional, so we are going to assume that he is entirely correct in all of his assessments and assumptions. That will be a wide shot there from Sophia White.
Both teams are 1 for 1 in the power play tonight. Strout will fire. It's blocked, and Countway cannot clear. It's back to Adelaide Strout. Strout will dump it. Open is White. White will center. Zinman couldn't get the shot off, but now White will fire, and Labonte, it's pinned up against the pipe, and Ledwick spinned around and hit McElhaney to knock her down. I believe that was White that she knocked down. Saw that too. Yeah, okay. That was Sophia White. That was not a penalty on Ledwick, but little shove after the play.
Yeah, Ledwick really does not get penalties. She has been the I think she is definitely in line for a sportsmanship award of sorts. She's always helping people off, always being a good Samaritan, helping everybody she can. And it's very uncharacteristic of her to do something like that. I think it was a total accident.
Puck will slowly roll back on net. Costa leaves it up to Adelaide Strout. Strout has the open O'Connor too far forward. And that's Jack. Nice hop by the linesman, and the linesman will get whacked with the puck by Ledwick.
Yeah, the linesmen have been moving well this game, but that one was not the best example.
Nice move by Ledwick. She will clear it to kill some more clock for the Dragon penalty kill.
I mean, we've said this before, Solveig Ledwick is ridiculously good at hockey. Just that play is it's such a high level.
Leads the state in goals for girls hockey. Another nice hop by the linesman. Really, these four referees out here, really just, they're going to get talked about a lot, especially since high school rinks are slightly smaller than the wider college or NHL rinks. Here's another couple saved by Labonte. It's still alive in the crease. Labonte freezes it eventually. My point being, Kaz, normally, so high school rinks are not as wide as NHL or college rinks, right, in general. And those NHL or college rinks are where you have 4 officials normally. So you put the 4 officials in the slightly thinner rink, and you're going to be talking about the officials a lot.
Yeah, we will. Face-off will be taken by Parham here. Presley Strout. Going to be gloved quickly by Labonte again.
16 seconds to go on that power play for Yarmouth, which of course you can tell thanks to our scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo's Portside Real Estate and managed by the great Eben White. Back, Strout's open to look to fire. It has the open O'Connor. She will fire. It's blocked. Can McCormick clear? Just 7 seconds to go on the power play, but the puck is won back by Zinman. She'll fire, save Labonte. She'll freeze it. 1 second to go, and they do not release Sydney Parham. You can see Oscar just pan over. She had 1 foot out the door, but they'll have to close it. 1 second to go.
Yeah, Dragon's going to have to hold this off. Parham in launch position in that box there, ready to book it back and join the defense.
In 1 second, the Dragons will advance to 1 for 2 on the penalty kill, and they do. Face-off is won by Parham. Sydney Parham will enter the game, but Ledwick will ice the puck.
Going to be a now full strength Dragons team setting up defense here. It's going to be a face-off in the offensive zone for Yarmouth as they lead by 1. Oh man, messed the mic up a little bit there. Oh, please say, if anybody's hearing a microphone error, please let me know. The mic was just yanked a little bit. Robert, you want to go ahead and check that real quick? No, check the stream, just audio. As Parham will send it off the boards. Countway now tied up with Adelaide Strout.
We're all good, guys.
We're all good. Audio does not seem to be a problem. That's good to hear.
It's good to hear. That's
good to hear.
Exactly what the microphone.
Solveig Ledwick now into the offensive zone. Had the puck taken away. Flynn, the first one there though. She can't win it from Avery Gear, but Ledwick can. Ledwick now behind her own net. And it will exit as Yarmouth will take over. But yeah, Yarmouth's going to go ahead and get that one. It was Macy White that got the clearance there.
Countway dumps it on net, stopped by Costa, and she will slowly freeze it.
That was some indecision there. Not being super decisive, couldn't tell if she wanted to leave it off for Adelaide Strout or freeze it and play it safe, and the Dragons are now going to squeeze an offensive zone faceoff out of that one.
They have out there, they need one more player. It will be Jerome to enter the game. The Dragons seem to be wanting to keep one of Countway, Parham, and Ledwick out on the ice the entire game. I don't think they've had their full second line of forwards out all game here, Kaz. Although they have skated Jerome, Saavedra, and Lauren Livesey at different points. They've always had one of those top 3 out there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. They're trying to keep that front line pretty heavy.
Parham will backhand it, looking for Saavedra. Geyer knocks it wide of the net. Here's McElhaney. McElhaney will center, and it's knocked out of harm's way by McCormick. Back to McElhaney. She will fire. Stopped by Levante. Sydney Parham collects. It's blocked by O'Connor, who's back into the game. O'Connor's wide open fire, and it's alive, right resting on the leg pad of Levante. McCormick, what a job to clear it out of harm's way on the back door. McElhaney had the wide open net, couldn't get her clean shot, and another chance in the slot. Sinman fires, it's blocked by Sydney Parham. It's a unbelievable barrage of offense by Yarmouth Freeport for the Dragons' escape.
Yeah, I mean, this is giving me flashbacks to what? Oh, they're going to call an icing there. That's off Yarmouth, though. Oh, it'll be a center ice faceoff, yeah?
If it's an inadvertent whistle for an incorrect icing, it'll be a center ice faceoff. Kaz, ball knowledge. So you can see that one linesman has his hand over his heart saying, it's my fault, guys. My bad. I blew the whistle. My fault, guys. So it's going to be a center ice faceoff because of it. Kaz Kosinski, just some fantastic puck knowledge to know that was going to happen. Kaz, we were able to spot the linesman who had his hand over his chest saying, my bad, I blew the whistle.
Yeah, I think he initially thought that it was just going to be an icing, but it did come off of Yarmouth, and that will result in just that center ice face-off there.
Donahue will knock it to Nezvezchuk, kept in by O'Connor. Save, Levante, rebound, stopped again. And Ledwick wins the puck. Kaz, I do want to give an update. I see Delia Vital on the Dragon bench with her gear taken off. So it does not appear like she'll be returning to this game.
Yeah, it seems that she has her helmet on, but everything else is off. It sounds like she will be out for the game.
Centering pass. And now Yarmouth Freeport will collect. McCormick knocks it around. Flynn had been knocked down and was in position. Couldn't get to that puck, and O'Connor has it. Looking to break out through the neutral zone. Will knock it around the wall. Strout going to work on the forecheck, but McCormick wins the race, knocks it around, and it will be kept in the zone by Adelaide Strout. Offensive zone chance for the Clippers once again. O'Connor has it in the corner. Zinman, defended by Ledwick. What a centering pass! And it is Aaron O'Connor who gives Yarmouth Freeport back the 2-goal advantage.
Yeah, that's a hard one to deal with there. A lot of action around the net for Freeport and for Freeport Yarmouth. And that will make this game a whole lot harder for Brunswick to get back into.
Second goal from Aaron O'Connor.
Aaron O'Connor does extend the lead to 2 now. Dragons' sole goal coming from the Solveig Ledwick top corner laser. Probably the goal of the season for me personally. I don't think I've seen a shot better than that.
I would agree with that. That was a snipe. Donahue will stand up. Ledwick wins the puck. Here's Strout. Sydney Parham will poke it to herself, and maybe a 2-on-1 for the Dragons. Parham has her sister in the zone. Great job by Strout to get back on defense, though. And Parham will take out both Geyer and Strout. It's a hook, but who is it against? Is it against Sydney Parham? I don't think it is, Kaz. It didn't seem like Parham was the one who did the hooking. I think it's against Strout, but we're waiting.
Yeah, it's going to be Strout. Yeah, it looks definitely like it's going to be Strout heading to the penalty box here. She'll plead her case. And they're just going to go ahead and stick Sophia White in there, I guess.
Sophia White is about to throw up, I believe. Okay, let's not get that on camera, please.
Yeah, Oscar, turn the camera away from that.
Don't pan right towards it, please. And it is still Ledwick now, will fire, it is blocked. The Dragon power play though, back on the ice. Here's Nezvezchuk. Nezvezchuk will enter on the shorthanded rush. A great play by Ledwick too, without getting the penalty to knock the puck out of Nezvezchuk's blade. And yeah, so it is a penalty on Adelaide Strout, but she's not in the box due to Sophia White throwing up in there. That's nice of them to not make Strout wait in the penalty box. Do hope that Sophia White is okay. As Nezvezchuk will enter the zone, the Clippers have had more offense on this power play than the Dragons have.
Yeah, the Dragons, this is a chance where they need to get something going here. As Donahue is all the way up ice, and she will just send it down. And that'll be an icing. Dragons will... I believe this will be a neutral zone face-off coming up. Nope, they're going to stick it in the Yarmouth offensive zone here. Will be a face-off in favor of Yarmouth. Minute and 12 on the power play here. Dragons need to set up shop, and they're going to call a timeout.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do. They just scored on the power play earlier. They're 1 for 1 in the power play thus far. And they desperately need a score here, down by 2 goals. A minute 12 to go on said 5-on-4. Kaz, their power play this year has really been just entirely outside shots from Vital and Ledwick. Vital now out of the game, so it's just Ledwick. And that's how they scored the first time, was an outside shot, and what you and I both agree is the best shot we've seen all year. Or did you say all time?
I mean, I'm cool with either. I think that was an unreal shot from the left side, driving in, and probably 2 Yarmouth defenders in the way and a goalie, and she just finds the one spot where nobody could get to it. Beat the goalie glove side, everything. It's just a perfect shot.
Well, that will probably be what they need to do again. I will say Lydia Costa has been known to generate a decent amount of rebounds, so maybe just Ledwick trying to put it on net, get the puck to bounce off Costa's leg pad, and then have Natalie Parham or Jillian Countway in there to clean up the garbage. That could be another good method, but either way, the Dragons need to win a face-off here with Parham, need to get the puck into the offensive zone, and need to put one in the back of the net.
Yeah, they really do. It'd be great to get it before the end of this period. They will have the player advantage going into the next period, but just for 6 seconds. As
big hit there by Ledwick on O'Connor. O'Connor's taking a beating tonight.
Yeah, Ledwick just plowed her there. Make sure she was not doing anything bad to the goalie.
I did say tonight, but I think it is still the afternoon, believe it or not.
I believe so. What time do you think night starts at, Rob? Sunset? Really, that's a pretty good metric. Sunset.
Yeah, I would agree. Puck will roll around the half wall, and the Dragons still can't get out of their defensive zone. But now Ledwick will rocket it to McCormick. McCormick surveys and has Parham entering. Now Natalie Parham will dump it on net off the leg pad of Lydia Costa. And now the Dragons will get settled on the power play. Here's Solveig Ledwick. She will. Callaway is open. Callaway rebounded. Sydney Parham on net. Still alive. Score! Sydney Parham, and it's a 1-goal game.
Come on, Dragons. That's exactly what we needed. Bring us back into this game.
Kaz, is that not exactly how I told you they were going to score?
That's exactly what Robert said. Generate the rebound, put it back in the net. Boom. That will release the penalty that was Adelaide Strout. However, Sophia White is still projectile vomiting in the box over there. Oh, she's actually taking a little break, but I am not sure if we will be seeing her back in this game anytime soon. Adelaide Strout into the zone. Bumped to Presley Strout, who will hit the arm of Ledwick. Will be sent off the boards, and it will clear the zone. Natalie Parham racing after it. Adelaide Strout does manage to get a hold of it.
Just 2 seconds to go, and Kaz, what a incredibly fun second period. 2 goals from the Dragons, both on the power play. They are 2 for 2 on the player advantage tonight. And then 1 goal by Aaron O'Connor. Kaz, 3 of the 5 goals during this game tonight have been by a player wearing 18.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty incredible.
34. Thank you all so much for joining us here on Brunswick High Sports Network.
47.
Both teams have been worse skating 10 skaters, and now they've both lost somebody, with Vital out of the game with an injury and Sophia White vomiting in the penalty box.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing any more of Sophia White. I think Vital also, the no gear implies that no more playing will happen for her. So yeah, it's going to be 9v9. See what happens.
Well, a fantastic second period of hockey, and Kaz, if that is a preview of what's in store for the third period, then I'll be very excited. We do thank you all for joining us here on Brunswick High Sports Network. Oscar Gartside on our camera, and Eben White on our scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo Sportside Real Estate. Kaz Kosinski and myself, Robert Bowen, on the microphone. Dragons trail 3-2 going into the third in the Northern Division semi-final. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our third and maybe final period of action here at Norway Savings Bank Arena in Auburn, Maine, in the Girls Hockey Northern Division semifinal. Of course, there is only one Division, one Class A in girls hockey with 13 teams, 6 in the north, 7 in the south. The winner of this game will play Edward Little, Levitt, Poland in the Northern Championship. That winner will go on to the state championship. In the South, I have to imagine it will be between Biddeford and Cheverus for that Southern Championship. And from the North, it'll be between EL, Yarmouth, and Brunswick.
Rob, it should be awesome no matter what the outcome is. We will, however, only be there if it's Brunswick. So we're hoping it's Brunswick.
Officials speaking with Ledwick and Strout, the two captains. I think Kaz and I have had some miscommunications about injuries. I could have sworn that it was Erin O'Connor who was hurt along the goal after the hit by Sydney Parham. But because she was helped off, Erin O'Connor was helped off by the officials. But we believe that Erica O'Connor also hurt her leg. So I don't know when that happened, because did both get hurt at the same time? And here's going to be a trip for Sydney Parham, and she will tie Jillian Countway on the year with her 20th penalty. Right on cue.
My goodness, that is unfortunate there. That's obviously not the result we wanted to see out of that defensive stand there, but Dragons are going to have to hold out for another power play here. They're going to be in the penalty kill formation. Parham, Natalie Parham, Countway, and then McCormick and Ledwick will be the team.
These teams have been great on the power play so far. Combined, they are 3 for 4. Yarmouth Freeport is 1 for 2. Nice pass open is O'Connor. O'Connor's right back in the game. So Erica O'Connor is not hurt, obviously. I don't know who hurt her leg. Ethan was talking about that. I'm sorry to the family of whoever hurt her leg. I do not know who it was.
Ethan could also be wrong. He said the knee was bending inward, but he could have been looking at it from the wrong side, and then the knee would just be bending, as a knee does pretty typically.
I also know that it was Erica O'Connor who was down, and then she got back up. Here's a shot by Stroud, misses the net.
We got lucky there. There was a good portion of the net open there, and it just went wide.
Here is a win of the puck by Erin O'Connor. It's wide. Shot is wide of the net by Strout, and Ledwick will recover to clear it. And she will put it on net for good measure.
Might as well. Nice and safe by Solveig Ledwick there, making sure Dragons get some defensive time.
Huge hit by McCormick on Strout. It was clean, though.
Yeah, and just 45 seconds here. Ledwick with the puck. She's going to burn a few seconds, then likely send it all the way down.
And that's exactly what she does. And we'll put it on net again for good measure again.
That's such a unique skill to have, and it's so helpful. Like, it's so underratedly helpful.
Into the zone is Zinman wide. White has it off the rebound, and Levante's able to get pipe to pipe to make that stop. Ledwick will bump with Zinman along the wall, and can Ledwick kick it to herself? Will knock it with her stick to Countway. Nice poke by Countway from Nezvezchuk, and she'll clear it. The nice hop by the linesman, and the Dragons can kill the rest of Sydney Parham's penalty. Once again, the great penalty race for the Dragons. Countway had the lead for a while, but Sydney Parham has put together a great comeback. They both have 20 on the season in 20 games.
I mean, I hope it's a tie. I hope that it's just a 20-20 tie. I do not want any more penalties for the Dragons. We need to cut this race off. It's not beneficial to the Dragons in any way.
The Zvezchuk shot is stopped by McCormick. It's blocked by Strout to keep it in his own shot is wide of the net. Rebound out to Presley. Strout is stopped by Levante. She'll freeze it. 12-16, 1-goal game. Where would you rather be, Kaz?
I'd rather be the Dragons. I'd rather be the team that has to score the comeback than the team that has to hold off the hungry team. On a 2-point conversion, would you rather be the team trying to score or the team trying to defend? You're always the team trying to score.
It's one out here to Sophia White. Sophia White's also back into the game. I was wondering, was it her because she was seen throwing up in the penalty box, but she's clearly not hurt either. So, yeah, we'll find out what Ethan was talking about eventually. But good to see White back into the game. Shot is deflected by Donahue. Countway gets hit hard into the boards by the aforementioned Sophia White, and now it's one out to Zinman. Zinman in the slot. Will collect along the wing. Zinman back up top to Geyer. Geyer gives it back to Zinman. Zinman will backhand it. Back to Zinman. Deflected by Ledwick. Collected by Geyer. Geyer fans on it. Can Flynn clear the zone? Chance for Countway. Jillian Countway will carry through the neutral zone and just put it on net to avoid the icing. The rebound is raced for and won by Solveig Ledwick. Ledwick will spin. Ledwick has space. She'll fire off the post. Solveig Ledwick in the corner. Nice move. Ledwick fires again. It's wide.
I'm telling you, every time Ledwick shoots, it's like a little, like, a shot of hope just goes flaring off because I'm like, this is a good chance, and now we're going to see an offensive zone faceoff for the Brunswick Dragons.
What a game we've had. We thank you all for joining us here in Auburn. Oscar Gartside on our camera, Eben White on our scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo Sportside Real Estate. Kosinski and myself, Robert Bowen, on the microphone. Parham versus Vezchuk. She'll win the face-off back to her sister. Sydney, who had the goal earlier, will knock it around. It's Jerome. Jerome gives it up and looking to clear the zone. Parham will keep it in. The Dragons keeping that streak of always having at least one of their top line out on the ice. They've never had Livesey, Jerome, and Flynn all together, and now they have Parham and Countway with Jerome to get Countway, or rather Ledwick, some rest. That's an offside.
That'll be an offside on Yarmouth, leading to a neutral zone faceoff.
Yes, it will be. We thank you now. We're up to 42 viewers. Can't complain, Cats.
This will be Parham off the boards here. But here comes Erica O'Connor into the zone. Ledwick with a big hit to send O'Connor stumbling to the ice.
And another big hit there, McCormick knocking down White. Here's Countway, though. Can the Dragons break out? He looked like a nice pass, but it was cut off by O'Connor. Delayed offside, sent up the ice by Countway, stopped by White. White will leave it up for Strout. Ledwick is stopped. She'll fall on the puck. Ledwick looking to get up, still right on top of the puck, will backwards kick it. Back to Strout in this high circle. Fires over the net. Parham collects. Here to White. Ledwick, can she clear the zone? It's deflected. Along the blue line, Countway is knocked nearly into her own bench. Countway just below the red line. Ms. Vezchuk, haven't said her name in a little while, but she's got speed into the zone. Trying to get underneath Sydney Parham, will spin. Ms. Vezchuk surveys, wide open shot, but deflected. That was Strout putting it towards the net. Adelaide Strout will fire again and wide. Can Flynn win that race to the puck? No, O'Connor puts it on net. Donahue gives it to Ledwick. Can Ledwick clear? Off the boards will be an icing.
Yeah, good for the Dragons there. Just get a breather, get some subs on, and hold the lines there. Just 9 minutes and 14 seconds remaining, or 9 minutes and 11 seconds for these Dragons to score a goal to tie.
Here is the win on the faceoff, still undecided. And now to Parham looking to clear. Kept in by Strout. Strout deflected and wide of the net. Zinman sends it around. Here's Geyer. Geyer back. Centering pass deflected by Parham. Another chance is blocked by McCormick. Another centering pass is poked by Saavedra. Saavedra leaves it up to Jillian Countway. She will enter the zone. Nice poke by Adelaide Strout, and McElhaney collects. Nice poke there by Natalie Parham. McCormick trying for it. She's hit from behind. Hit again. Cantway poking at it. Geyer's got it for Yarmouth. Freeport dumps it down. A chance for O'Connor, who already has 2 goals. Levante will freeze it.
Oh my! Rob, this game is a cardiac stressor right here. This is not easy on the heart.
It's been a thriller for sure. As Michael Jackson once said.
Because this is Thriller.
Puck drop won by Nezvezchuk. White dumps it down. Collected by her sister Macy. Shot, and we'll get a whistle. I believe that's a goaltender interference. It's not interference as in a penalty, but an interference as in a neutral zone face-off. Ethan Patterson has explained that rule to me before. And Kaz, I believe if we get a timeline of events, Patterson explained the rule to me, and about 20 seconds later, I forgot what he said. But it's a neutral zone face-off.
That's a pretty good time there for Patterson to remember, have something notable to remember for you. Terrible English, my goodness, I apologize for that.
Centering pass won't fall. Ledwick, the Dragons need a goal here in the next 8 minutes. Nezvezchuk leaves it back. O'Connor, it's deflected. Can Parham clear the zone? Yes. The puck will slowly roll onto the net, and Costa freezes it, and the Dragons will get the ozone face-off. I do not like Costa freezing that puck. I think you have to take the risk and make that pass to Nezvezchuk to avoid the offensive zone face-off for Brunswick, who still has had barely any zone time here in the third period.
I agree. I think you got to bump it to a player. We need
the Dragons need to score one more time.
We need one more goal from the Dragons, yeah. 3-2.
Flynn is knocked down. Sydney Parham, the nice hop by the linesman again. Parham towards the net. It is wide. O'Connor clears the zone. Sydney will track it down. Parham off the wall. O'Connor knocks it around, and her sister will collect, tries to backhand jam it in. The rebound, it's still alive. It's in the back of the net. A 2-goal lead for Yarmouth Freeport. Credit Erica O'Connor with the score, or rather Celia Zinman.
And Oscar missed the film on that one pretty bad, so we're not going to have you guys seeing that, unfortunately. As Oscar was making sure that Lydia Costa got airtime on the... That's unfortunate. Our cameraman with a subpar performance on that goal. It's probably for the better that you guys didn't have to watch that. Dragons now need 2 in 7 minutes to equalize this. It'll be Adelaide Strout to enter the zone. And it will be frozen by Labonte.
Yeah, we're very sorry that our cameraman, Ethan Patterson, missed that goal.
Yeah. What did Ethan say?
Very sorry that our cameraman, Zach Wintle, missed that goal. That's really rough. Deflecting puck is frozen by Labonte. Once again, the Dragons had a 2-goal disadvantage to the Clippers last time they played. With about 5 minutes left, they scored that first goal. It was Jillian Countway, and then Ledwick tied it at 2. So the Dragons can score 2 quick goals in the third period against the Clippers. They've done it before, and they need it now, or their season will be over. Geyer will win it. McCormick lays it up. Stopped by Geyer. Will dump it around to White. White has it deflected. Nezvezchuk high slot. It's blocked. Nezvezchuk again will backhand it wide of the net. Here's Strout. The Dragons just need to get out of their zone and put some pucks in the back of the net, Kaz. Really, it's all that simple. Ledwick will lay it up to Jillian Countway. Countway will poke it forward, gets around the linesman. And here is Strout. Nice play as Parham takes a huge hit. Linesman hopping up on the bench again. Really, it's been just the talk of the day. I've mentioned the linesman more than some of the players on the ice.
Yeah, the linesman's moving. He's getting up and down pretty well. like a good golfer. Getting up and down.
McCormick. Natalie Parham up ice. It's out to Adelaide Shrout on net. Oh, a backhand on a wide open net. White lofted it right over.
Yeah, that was not very impressive right there. That's the equivalent of like eating a tilapia when haddock is available. I don't know why you do it. That'll be White to just kick it and pass it up to, that's going to be an offside. And the unfortunate chaps of Yarmouth will now have to deal with a neutral zone faceoff.
Seal is Inman over that blue line as McElhaney entered. 5:26 to go on your scoreboard. Sponsored by Singer Domingo Sportside Real Estate and managed by Eben White. Sydney Parham will backhand it. It's collected by O'Connor. Countway just trying to clear the zone, cannot. McElhaney will dump it. Countway will exit the zone. O'Connor collects. Here's Donahue. Sends it up the ice, caught by Saavedra. Saavedra will enter. Saavedra back to Countway. Can Donahue keep it in the zone? No. Nezvezchuk has it. She'll enter. Nezvezchuk absorbs the poke from Ledwick. Nezvezchuk lays it up. Saavedra will knock down O'Connor. Shot deflected and wide. McElhaney collected by Ledwick, and the Dragons need a breakout. Ledwick will backhand it to Countway. Countway able to clear the zone, but Sophia White is there. Has an open O'Connor. Off the boards, O'Connor makes the catch, and will dump it in. 4 minutes, the Dragons still need 2 goals. McCormick will spin, lays it up, Natalie Parham off her blade. White towards the net, and score! Maya Nezvezchuk, her second goal. What a job to collect it in the slot and put it in the back of the net. It's 5-2.
That feels like the nail in the coffin, Robert. An unfortunate final period for the Dragons here, leaving them down 3 goals now. They really, 3 goals in 4 minutes is definitely not impossible. This game is not over yet, but the path to victory, it just gets harder. We need a little Dragon masterclass here.
McCormick will upend Macy White. Parham backhands it. Geyer will enter. Here's White, who just had the assist. Centering pass. Strout puts it on net, save Labonte, who will freeze it.
Yeah, at some point the Dragons really, there's just no time to be playing any more defense. Like, you need to really be in the offensive zone, and they just haven't had that going this period. It's unfortunate.
I would not be surprised if Solveig Ledwick plays the entire remaining 3 minutes and 18 seconds of this one, Kaz.
Yeah, I would not be either. That would be actually, almost expected.
Which I should note is a ridiculously long shift, but I can almost guarantee will be out there for the remainder. Has had a just unbelievable career here for the Dragons. Obviously, as we've mentioned, leads the state in goals this season. Geyer, blocked by Donahue, sends it to Countway. Donahue has it deflected. Geyer's shot, punched aside by Labonte. Trying to jam it in was O'Connor, could not. Looks like that final 20-20 tie on the penalty counter might come true, Kaz. Or will we see a penalty from Countway or Sydney Parham here in the final 2:30?
I hope not. I hope we don't. I mean, that would spell doom. With 2 minutes, that would be we'd have to 4-on-5 and score 3 goals. I just don't see it, Rob.
Strout through the neutral zone. Lays it up. Nice little one-touch pass, and Ledwick will take it herself. Solveig Ledwick, nice move, enters the zone, in the slot. Will lose it. 2 minutes left, fires. Deflected. Ledwick again, puts it wide. Donahue's got it in the neutral zone. Sends it across to McCormick. McCormick will loft it into the zone. Sophia White knocks it up. Ice O'Connor will backhand it. And as Vezchuk goes to work on the forecheck, putting pressure on McCormick. Ledwick trying to win the puck back. As Flynn. Flynn deflects it with her skate. McCormick sends it up the ice, but it's kept in the zone by White, who knocks it to Strout. Strout will send a blocker save by Levante. And White has it below the blue line. Fires blocked. Ledwick gives it up. White will knock it around. Here's Donahue to clear, kept in the zone by O'Connor. Rebound, score. Macy White. It's 6-2.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it, Rob. There wasn't enough time before that goal, and now a 4-goal difference between these two teams with just a minute to go. That will likely bring us to the end here. We, of course, will stream the rest of the game and keep rooting and fighting for our Brunswick Dragons, but that, unfortunately, probably is the last breath of this successful girls hockey team this year.
Down to one last breath by Creed. Or just one last breath. That was the victory song played by Ethan Patterson when the Dragons defeated Lewiston in the Northern Regional quarterfinal. McCormick, beautiful pass to Countway. And Ledwick is out of the game now. Have to hope there will be a whistle so she can take the ice one last time. But Yarmouth will carry through the neutral zone with Strout. Strout fires, leg pad saved by Levante. Jerome gets tripped up by Geyer. 15 seconds left. Sydney Parham lays it up. Countway. It's picked off, though, by Strout on net. Deflected and wide. Just 10 seconds left now. McCormick will ice it. What other way to end it, Kaz, than another icing?
Oh, man, just don't call the icing there. You got 2 seconds left. Just call it, dude. I mean, what are we doing?
Kaz, we've been here since November. We've covered a pretty insane amount of girls hockey games this season. Ever since those first 2 preseason matchups against Biddeford was the first one. I believe that was on Veterans Day. That's how long we've been with this team, Kaz, and just 2.3 seconds left on the year. And that will do it. The Yarmouth Clippers advance to play Edward Little in the Girls Hockey Northern Division Championship.
Yeah, and I mean nothing to say other than a wonderful season from this girls Dragons team. They've been a great team. A lot of great games, a lot of fun wins, a lot of hard losses. I don't think they left anything to be desired out of this year. Most of this team was here for that state championship run last year. So no matter how you twist it, they've been a great team for the past couple seasons. But that sadly will bring us to the end. Robert, should we do some stars of the game?
Yeah, for my first star, it does have to go to Aaron O'Connor, who had 2 goals, I believe an assist as well for the Yarmouth Clippers. Those 2 goals were massive for them, and that third one by O'Connor did end up being the game winner.
Yeah, Robert, I think my star of the game is going to be pretty obvious as well. Solveig Ledwick of the Brunswick Dragons, hands down, the best player on the ice at all times.
And Oscar for our third star. Oscar, let's go, man. We gotta get a good one here.
I'll go with the other Dragons goal scorer, Sydney Parham.
That will do it for us now. as the Brunswick fans applaud their final run of these girls Dragons. A great game all around from all of these players. You know, it was great fun. That is going to do it for us on BHSN. Robert and Kaz on the call. Oscar Gartside operating the camera, and Eben White on the scoreboard. Thank you very much.
Guys, we are going to be live again later today at 5 o'clock. The Brunswick Freeport boys ice hockey team takes on Greeley. Beware will be streaming it. I don't know if I'll be there in time to commentate, but that game will be streamed. So it's been fun, Kaz.
Yes, Robert, it has. I will see you next year. Robert will be attending Boston College, so we won't see him on the girls hockey team next year. I will be here though.
Thank you all for joining us once again. 5 o'clock, we will be live. I don't know if any of us will be there, but you can watch a nice boys hockey game. Yarmouth Freeport wins 6-2.